Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you a lovely 16-inch 240Hz monitor that was kindly sent over to me by today's sponsor UPerfect. I'm going to be showing you ways you can use this to make sense, ways that make a lot of sense, and some ways that are just a little bit mad, because it wouldn't be a Ryan Retro review without thinking outside the box a little bit. So I have strapped together an absolute monstrosity here, and let's check out what this thing can do. The 3DS emulator Azaha supports external displays now thanks to the Retroid Pocket dual screen which recently released, and dual screen handhelds like the AYN Thor coming soon. But I thought, why settle for one of those tiny little screens on the top of the device when you can have something like this? Now this is clearly a little bit of a joke. This is not really meant to be a use case. I just thought this would be hilarious to try, and it does in fact work. So here's Mario Kart playing on Azaha. It looks incredible on this screen. The screen is running at 1080p 60Hz, which is the usual output of the Retroid Pocket 5, and it looks really good here. It plays nice and smooth. We have the little map down here on our Retroid Pocket 5 handheld screen. I think this just looks really nice. I don't recommend anyone strap their devices together like this because it feels like it might break at any point, but it's really fun to try. And I don't know what it is about this, but it just feels like it adds to my device's DNA. So if you would like to set up this awful contraption that I have here, all you need to do is just obviously connect your device to the monitor like you normally would, and then you're going to need to find a way to power it. So we could connect a kind of power bank like this lovely Anker one I have here, but it's a bit big and heavy. But I found this screen just runs off of anything. So I just grabbed a little MagSafe battery and taped it on the back. And does this not just look exactly like the Retroid Pocket dual screen attachment? Here's that little power bank I use to charge my phone with MagSafe. So if you would like to do this cleanly, I would suggest buying one of those MagSafe pucks you can attach MagSafe accessories to. Stick that on the back of here, and then you could just tape this right on. It fits perfectly in this little rectangle. As for this monstrosity over here, I'm using a really long USB-C to HDMI cable. So if you got a nice short one that just went over here, it would be really clean looking. But I don't have that on hand, so I just had to Frankenstein something together because I just thought this was far too funny to not include in the video. So I hope you liked the video for this. So that was obviously a ridiculous way to use the product, but let me just show you it properly and how you would really use it. It's an extremely lightweight panel, but that looks really beautiful. We have this nice built-in kickstand, so it's easy to just prop it up wherever you want at any angle. Maybe you could even see my lovely mug in there if I prop it up correctly. And what you would do is just take your device, whether that's a handheld, a phone, a computer, whatever it is, and I will show you a few of them in this video, and you just need to find a way to connect it to the screen and a way to power the screen. You'll find some devices actually can provide power to it, so you can just have one single USB-C cable setup, but something like this, a little handheld, you're going to need to give it its own power supply, like a little battery I showed you before, or just plugging it in with any kind of USB-C cable you might have lying around. There are two USB-C connectors here, one for power and one for video, and you can use whichever one you want interchangeably as you wish, and there is also a mini HDMI if you want to connect by HDMI. So I'll just set this up on the table. I would usually use it something like this, but so you can see it on the video, I'm going to angle it all the way down like this. The hinge is really solid and has so much control, much better than the Retroid Pocket Flip 2, I'll add. Let's plug in a battery now to charge it with. So I just have a simple USB-C cable and a little battery here, which I'll plug into that USB-C port on the back, nice and easy. Now we have power on the monitor. We just need to connect our device to it by HDMI or USB-C. Now, as far as I know, unfortunately, these handhelds don't support USB-C to C video connections. So we're going to need to use a USB-C to HDMI like you would with any TV you might connect this to. If you had a dock like the Retroid Pocket dock, that's of course going to work as well. When I connect my Retroid Pocket 5 to a TV, I always use this HDMI to USB-C cable. So let's just plug the USB-C into the Retroid Pocket 5 or whatever device you're using. And we now just need to connect this to the monitor. Now this is full-size HDMI and I need mini HDMI. So I just bought a little adapter for like literally $1, that goes from regular HDMI to a 90-degree mini HDMI. So let's just plug that in the back as well and ignore my ominously hanging battery. And now with two cables plugged in, we have the screen connected beautifully. Of course, you can make this a lot neater if you are using it properly and not trying to shoot a top-down camera, which makes it quite hard to set up. One thing you might notice about this right away, and also any TV you connect these handhelds to, is they're probably going to look really washed out compared to our handhelds, because these come crazy saturated by default, and I think they look really, really great with the saturated OLED panel. This is not an OLED, but we can match the saturation if we use the buttons on the side of the device. There's only 4, so they're really easy to use. And if we come down to color, saturation, and then bump this up to somewhere around maybe 85%, we get a nice similarly saturated display, which I think matches really well and looks brilliant. So this is how I've been using it set up. Of course, not at this weird angle, at a more regular viewing angle, sat down on a chair. And I've been really enjoying this. I don't notice any kind of lag, even when I'm playing shooting games or anything else. I think this is just a fantastic accessory to have with your handhelds. If you want to play on a bit of a bigger screen that's extremely lightweight and battery powered, it's really useful. So let's now look into some other uses for this and check out how high of a refresh rate we can get and what that looks like. Now, the Retro Pocket 5 is limited to 60 Hz output, so we're going to need to change to something else. Once again, you're going to have to forgive me about the angle here. It's going to be quite hard to work this into the screen, but here is my laptop running the brand new ryanretro.com website, which I put a lot of time and effort into, so please check out. And it connects by default as a second screen. So we can move pictures over onto it and use a dual screen setup if I'm doing something like video editing. This is really useful. But I want to mirror the main screen. For this, I'm using one single USB-C cable. The laptop provides the power to the monitor and also connects it as a second monitor. And I've had to turn the saturation way down now because I want to match the screens and not that super overly vibrant Retro Pocket 5 screen. So let's see what kind of resolution and frame rate we can get on this monitor from our MacBook. So we can scale this all the way up to 2560 by 1600, and we're then able to change the refresh rate all the way up to 240 Hz, which is just liquidy smooth. You're not going to be able to see this on this video because I can't even record that high and YouTube can't even show you that high, but when you see it with your eyes, it is so smooth. It's like when you jump from 30 to 60 or 60 to 90, going from around 60 or 90 to 240 is a big jump. So if you'd like to use this as a second monitor for your device, or if you want to get a little bit more outside the box like me again, and even just put this on top of your device like this, which I'm not gonna lie, I did this for about an hour the other day playing GeForce Now Battlefield 1 on this, although it was slipping around a little bit. You can do that, and I now have a nice 240 Hz MacBook, which doesn't even exist. Let's now jump into a game of Battlefield 1 on here using GeForce Now and see what some nice smooth frame rate looks like. Okay, a bit of a funky filming setup now. I want to use the keyboard of my laptop, but I obviously want to show you the screen. So I'm going to be doing this and kind of hiding my cheating fingers as we play a little bit of Battlefield 1 on GeForce Now with this lovely monitor. You can see the statistics up here. The game's running around 150 frames per second. This game in particular is limited to 120 frames per second on GeForce Now. There are some games that can be played at 240, but they're games like Fortnite that I don't really play. So I'm playing this with a 120 Hz refresh rate, and I've been binging this the past week or so because this just looks amazing as I get shot by a tank or trying to look at different cameras and things. But going from 60 Hz on my Mac to 120 here, it's a monumental difference. Even going from the 90 Hz of my Odin 2 Portal to 120, it's so smooth. If you play your own games with your PC, or if you play other games on GeForce Now, you can get up to that 240 Hz mark, but even this 120 just looks so smooth. Let's see if we can take out someone. Oh, what a shot. What a hit, son. Oh, I hit him right in the wang, but he got me first. I can play this for hours on end, whether I'm using keyboard and mouse on my MacBook, whether I'm connecting my Mac Mini, whether I'm connecting a handheld. If I just grab this monitor, set it up on its kickstand, connect a battery, I'm just good to go, and I'm going to play at 120 frames per second with that super buttery smooth refresh rate. It is heaven. If you haven't played on a high refresh rate monitor, I highly recommend it. Even just moving the mouse around is so much smoother than on 60 Hz. It's wonderful. Here I've got the monitor hooked up to my M4 Mac Mini playing on Minecraft at 240 frames per second, and it is just ridiculously smooth. The downside with playing like this is I'm not sure I can go back to playing at 60 Hz ever again. My subscriber counter has also never looked smoother when I see it increase as well. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Another thing you can do if you have a Samsung phone like this is you can connect it by USB-C to the monitor. And if you have a Samsung phone like me, you can connect it up to the monitor just like this. But Samsung has DeX mode, which basically turns your phone into a full computer. You can even set it up to use your phone as a trackpad and navigate the internet like this, which is just ridiculous. And let's not forget that this phone has a Snapdragon 8 Elite inside, so I can do some serious emulation on this. We can open emulators in their own windows and launch into games. If we connect up a Bluetooth controller with this, this would be beautiful. There are so many use cases for a portable monitor like this that's lightweight, has its own kickstand, and can be powered from a power bank like this or some devices. It's really, really useful. And I would recommend everybody check out something like this. Now, there are loads of monitors out there. This is not the only good one in the whole universe, but I've had quite a few terrible ones, so I can vouch that this one is good. I've been putting it through its paces the past week or two, doing lots of testing across multiple devices. I really wanted to show you Nintendo Switch on this, but my Nintendo Switch stopped charging a few days ago, so guess I have to buy a Switch too. I really wanted to show you that, but it does work well. So does my phone, all of my various devices. They're all working great on here. So if you are in the market for a monitor, you can take my word, this is a good one. It's such a great monitor and I really do recommend it. So if you'd like to buy one, I'll have a link in the description below. I just think it's a good product and I recommend at least checking it out, and check out the UPerfect website because they have so many cool monitors, even folding ones. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please give me a like and subscribe if you didn't already, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.